Russia is building an extensive trench network to stop further Ukrainian advances. On Friday, the UK Ministry of Defense reported that Russia was building new defensive lines as much as 60 kilometers back from the front line, apparently planning to settle in for winter. This would give Russia time to rebuild its forces while Western enthusiasm and support for the war drains away. But this is not 1916, and Russia's plans are likely to be blown away by Ukraine's increasingly capable armada of small drones. The reality is we are droning them to death, according to one Ukrainian volunteer. In W1, trench warfare became a synonym for static conflict in which neither side could make any gains. Two new weapons, the machine gun and rapid-fire artillery, took a heavy toll on troops advancing across open ground and made cavalry charges suicidal. Entrenched troops could survive, even heavy artillery bombardments lasting days. Trench warfare gave defenders a decisive advantage, and battles became a slog in which a major push costing thousands of lives might gain a few miles at best. A century later, high-intensity warfare is more mobile, characterized by rapid movement by armored units supported by air power. The Russians may be hoping that Ukraine's relative lack of armor and jets, plus their own anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles, will allow the defenders in trenches to make any attack too expensive. A prolonged stalemate may be Putin's best hope of staying in the game. But a stream of videos from Ukrainian forces shows how vulnerable entrenched troops are to a new tactic: quadcopter drones dropping grenades with extreme precision. The technique has now been perfected, and consumer quadcopters such as a DJI Mavic 3 are the standard bomber armed with munitions adapted from VOG-17 anti-personnel grenades. Ukrainian operators have become skilled at hitting pinpoint targets from an altitude of a few hundred meters. Foxholes, shell scrapes, and trenches provide excellent protection from machine gun and cannon fire. The enemy cannot even see you, and dirt and sandbags absorb any incoming fire. But from a drone's eye view, a soldier in a trench might as well be standing in the open. These videos can make difficult viewing, unlike drone bombing vehicles, which disintegrate in a dramatic explosion. These attacks leave bleeding, injured, and dead soldiers. Body armor usually protects a soldier's torso, but the spray of shrapnel tends to cause leg and lower body injuries, and victims may bleed to death. Even from high altitude, drone operators can put a grenade into a trench a meter across, usually targeting a specific occupant. Because soldiers in trenches tend to be clustered together, a strike can kill or injure several at a time, though often a single individual is targeted with high precision. The drones operate from high enough that the Russians never see or hear until too late. Some recent such videos show attacks on troops sleeping in their defenses. Some will die without knowing what hit them. Obviously, we only see the hits, and we do not know the success rate. But unlike a loitering munitions/kamikaze drone, if the drone bombers miss, they can simply go back to pick up another bomb for the next try. The supply of cheap grenades is effectively unlimited. Trenches typically have a dugout or deep shelter where the defenders can go during an artillery bombardment. Sometimes these are just cubbyholes in the trench walls, but in W1 some went down to a depth of 50 feet. Trenches also have sections with overhead cover, usually formed by logs covered with earth. These should give good protection from drone attacks, and some videos show Russians scurrying for the dugout as soon as a bomb hits, but drones can drop bombs into the entrance or simply wait for those in the shelter to emerge. During W1, dugout occupants could hear when an artillery barrage started and when it was over, and it was safe to come out. With drones, there's no safe time. Dugouts may not be that secure either. An increasing number of videos show Ukrainian forces using small racing drones, laden with explosives as improvised loitering munitions. These can maneuver in tight spaces and fly through doorways or windows or down trenches. They may not be nearly as capable as Israel's new AI-powered Lanius killer quadcopters, but they are cheap and they are available, and they can go right into earthworks. Trenches afforded pretty good protection in W1. Drones turn them into death traps. Russian troops may simply take refuge in deep bunkers, which would effectively take them out of the fight and prevent them from resisting Ukrainian advances, but at least they would survive to surrender. Russia is counting on an early 20th century defensive move to slow down the enemy. It may be little help against a 21st century army and its miniature air force.